And as long as you disrespect him and as long as you disrespect her, then Josiah is gonna pay for it. Now you wanna roll your eyes, you wanna go home, sit your butt down somewhere and think about what I said. Because I'm telling you right now, I am furious. No. Let's get this straight. I address what I want to address in the order I want to address it. Spittle, when they're born, signing a birth certificate and living their life. Not 2 years later, still sitting up here arguing.
That's wild.
With eeny, meeny, miny, and no.
I'm sorry. He was like, she just eats a lot of fast food. Everybody was rubbing, my friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her, she's just fat.
This lady got on Judge Lauren Lake's nerves so much that it felt like she wanted to leave her seat.
Little one, have a seat. You're not making anybody look bad except yourself.
You up here talking to me?
I'm addressing him next.
Oh, well, you should
So
be
the
first.
point is, no.
She picked the wrong person to have an attitude with.
Here acting silly. You up here acting like this is a stage play, and there is no play here. This is real life.
Judge Lauren Lake really doesn't fool around.
I don't want him up here acting like you or you. I don't want him acting like either one of you. You are a terrible example to your child of what a respectful human being acts like. Clowning in here.
In this episode, a woman tests 3 men who may be your son's father.
Confess that at the time you conceived your 2-year-old son, Josiah, you had sexual relations with 3 men. So you've requested paternity testing on all 3 men.
The first potential father, Mr. Scott, claimed she led him to believe he was the biological father until she told him in anger that she needed a DNA test.
In anger,
That's
that
true,
she
ma'am.
needed a DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor, that is true.
How did she end up wanting to test 3 men?
At the
She brought a-
time, I had sex with 3 different men around the same time my son conceived. I did have a 5.5-month fling with Mr. Scott, year relationship with my ex.
She brought a calendar as evidence of the time of conception.
As we see here on the calendar, the yellow represents you, Mr. Scott. For Mr. Blake, that's represented in the blue. We're looking at the window of conception.
When the judge asked if she used protection, Mr. Scott gave an awful remark.
Did you use protection?
No, we did not.
How much did he pay?
Excuse me, Mr. Scott. You're gonna be respectful in this courtroom.
Well, she chose him. Judge Lauren Lake didn't waste time in letting her know that.
You admitted in court today that you had a 5.5-month fling with a gentleman that can look across the aisle at you and ask you, how much does someone pay for your sexual services?
That's the reason why I wasn't with him, Your Honor. That's the reason why after the 5.5 months, I seen
5.5 months is too long.
Here's why Mr. Scott has doubts.
Okay, I'm doubtful because she said out of her own mouth, DNA test. I didn't know nothing about her situation. When she came and told me she was pregnant, I believed her.
Okay.
She doesn't seem to agree with all that.
Your Honor, that man is
Tamara,
not doing any of that, okay?
I'm not doing it
He is not a
anymore.
good
Ever since I
person,
found
period,
out
Your
that I
Honor.
don't
I'm
think
sorry.
he's mine, I have
He is an
stopped.
ignorant person.
Here's her own version.
I added up the dates and everything. I thought I conceived in January. To find out I didn't conceive in January, I conceived in December. So then I was like, oh man, you know, I came to him like a woman and I said, you know what, Josiah might not
Why
be
didn't
yours.
you just...
Wow, they really got a lot going on. She revealed she wasn't the first that'll try paternity fraud on him.
Do you
That's
know,
what he did.
Your Honor, do you know that
And not
this is the
even-
second lady, Your Honor, that has come to me, told me that I am the father of her child. Signed a birth certificate, 99% wasn't mine.
The judge asked the second potential father about his doubts.
Did you sleep with Miss Hatcher on the 26th of December? That's the day after Christmas. You should remember that.
We got a hotel room that night. Possibility it could be mine. If it's mine, I don't have a problem with taking care
Was
of
it
mine.
protect?
So, why is potential father number 2 a possibility?
He could be a possibility because the way my son is built, the way he's growing up.
How many people you got to test for you find out?
Okay, well,
As many as it takes in this courtroom.
Test.
As many as it takes.
She went on to explain her struggles as a single parent.
moved from a house to having a car to a apartment with no stove, no working refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? And this man, you know, he's homeless, and I let him stay out of my house at night. I don't want him to be my baby's father because he's 43 years old. He don't want to work.
But
With that, the judge lost it.
without protection.
Yeah, I did.
So at this point,
did.
the insults are irrelevant.
Yeah, it is.
Can I defend myself in a
Trial.
yourself.
No, ma'am.
You don't need to defend yourself.
No, ma'am, I have children. I have 3
Listen,
kids. No,
you don't need to defend yourself,
that's not
sir.
the point.
What character?
She just said that I'm this and that, I'm this and that. I don't take care of my kids.
Ask him what he does
if
for
I
a
don't,
living.
if I don't take care of my kids, call them.
You don't take care
Call
of your
him.
kids, and you know
Call
you
him.
don't. You don't pay child
Call
support.
them and
You
ask
always
them
say
what
you
they
don't pay
dad.
child
Call
support.
them and
He's
ask them what kind of
horrible.
father
He's
I am.
horrible.
It's getting heated. Jerome had to step in. Trust Judge Lauren Lake to tear into them.
Typically, that might not be mine. The
Stop
2 other
coming to
dudes
my
you
house.
slept with. Be
Stop
honest
coming
with
to
me.
my house.
Guys, calm down, please.
Truth be told, when this man stepped up and signed the birth certificate, then really that should have been, that's it.
She went on to ask them what their hopes were. Well, she doesn't want Mr. Scott to be the father.
It's the other 2 men. Which one of the other 2 men? And the only
that's
reason-
your hope?
Yes, that is my hope.
Why are you emotional? What do you feel?
Because, you know, I'm ashamed that I'm here for this for my son. Because
The judge is not done with him yet.
That's the place where we can make change. Because this courtroom is about children. Y'all want to go out here today and destroy your lives? There's nothing I can do. But I'm not going to sit by and watch you destroy Josiah's.
Here's Mr. Scott's hopes.
Then we find out who his father is, whether it is me, him, or him. I want to know, because if he's mine, I want to be with him. I got 3 kids. I will give my last for my kids, and if that boy is mine, he gonna know he got love.
It's time for the results.
Is the biological father of 2-year-old Josiah Scott. Mr. Sneed is not Josiah's father. When it comes to Mr. Blake, you are not the father.
I'm sorry.
When it comes to Mr. Scott, you are the father.
A man denies pregnancy by calling his girlfriend fat.
And you say you know 100% you're not the biological father. I want to know why you have doubt.
At the time that Jill was conceived, we were not having no type of intercourse. We were not cool at the moment.
He sounded convincing until she said this.
We were living in the same household, in the same bed.
Were you living in the same house?
Around the time, yes.
But you weren't together.
Exactly.
So were you sharing a bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And fluid.
Looks like she came prepared for him.
So you're saying during the window of time when Giovanni was conceived, you are certain that even though Ms. Brewington lived in your house and shared your bed, you weren't intimate with her?
She unexpectedly found out she was pregnant. Here's how.
I actually went to the doctor to just re-up on my birth control. So I went ahead, they did a pregnancy test. It came up positive.
Why is he so certain it can't be him?
Because she came to my house complaining about how I didn't say happy birthday, that I didn't get nothing for her birthday, and I didn't.
And
Because
then he
the simple
turned
reason.
around and decided to treat me for my birthday, Your Honor. Yes, okay, for the next 2 weeks.
She wouldn't even let him get the sentences out. The judge asked what happened during birth.
Throughout this pregnancy, was Mr. Lee present?
No, he was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fast food. Everybody was my friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her, she's just fat.
That got to the judge. Check out her response.
Denial is this? Mr. Lee, you taking denial too far.
Exactly.
Here's his reason for his outrageous denial.
She was trying to get back with me, but I wasn't, so she probably felt like if we have a child, we might work out.
Boy, he's like, oh, that's my boy. That's my boy. I love him. That's my son. I need to be there.
Why would she even bring DNA up? Isn't that sowing seeds of doubt in his mind?
All
The
this
whole time.
denial, and you say she eating fast food, and this isn't even a pregnancy, but then you get there and execute a birth certificate?
It was the right thing at that moment.
She's sassy. I'll give her that. While he was trying to explain away why he decided to sign the certificate even with doubts, Judge Lauren took him to school.
It's like, we already had a previous child. I'm gonna be in this child's life regardless because
You're making an execution of a birth certificate sound like a consolation prize or a consolation.
He dug his own grave by giving this hilarious excuse.
Well, what I'm saying is, it just doesn't make any sense that you had absolutely no thought that this child could be yours, and then you walk in and you just say, well, I might as well just sign the birth certificate like you supersizing your fries or something. That doesn't make sense.
With that, she shifted her attention to Miss Brewington. It's time for her lesson.
So your point is I'm tired
We'll
of
see.
hearing the denial. You gonna learn making babies in the country and don't know the laws.
yeah.
He revealed he had other reasons for doubting paternity.
The reason I did not think that it was mine is one of her friends, a good friend of her, actually told me that I wasn't the father.
Really?
She told me that she
My
knows
friend
who's the
told
father.
him that.
So, what did his friend tell him?
She told me that she actually is friends with the dude who is the father, and that he's trying to get in contact with Brittany, but she keeps ignoring him and wants me to be the dad since I'm there already.
That's a statement you can't take back. She believes the baby has his features.
Exactly like him. And then, yes, I say it, and then if he ever tries to run with it, I'm like, okay, that's their baby. That's his baby picture. Look.
A definite resemblance.
He went ahead to explain his relationship with the kid.
Me, daddy.
Calls you daddy.
Yes. Yes.
With all of that,
Yes.
you still don't believe he's your biological son.
No.
Your Honor, that is his baby. And I can't wait, because the devil is a liar and this is Lucifer, so stop.
Mr. Lee wasn't free either.
The man that I look at and I say, Daddy, when I come running up,
Right.
is standing in a courtroom right now, clowning my mother, but also denying. And see, we have to think about that.
It's time to check the results. If he's not the father, she owes me an apology because I'm pretty convinced.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Told y'all.
Her demeanor shows she knew all along, and Judge Lauren Lake was not having it.
Now, the plan of Giovanni being on this earth might be God's, but the lie you told about his paternity is your own.
Check out her response when the judge who the father is.
Who his biological father is.
I have an idea.
You just have an idea.
I have an idea.
I want you to bring him to this courtroom, and I want you to submit to this DNA testing again, and I want you to commit yourself to getting this answer for your child.
Yes, Your Honor.